I think that there's this idea that introverts can't be great public speakers too. I realized that though I am an introvert and I get a little bit of anxiety around being in front of people, public speaking in particular makes me feel so empowered. My name is Yvonne Armenta. I'm a first-gen college graduate, public speaking creative. For undergraduate, I went to UC Berkeley where I majored in media studies and Native American studies, education minor, and I got my master's in business administration from San Jose State University. I think oftentimes as first gen, it's interesting because I'm also the oldest daughter of 3. And so my mom and I, whether we wanted to or not, have this really close bond where I helped raise my siblings. And I feel like I already had kids, even though I haven't had any at all. My dad left when I was 2 and my brother was a newborn. So I don't have too many memories with my dad. All my memories are with my mom. And because of that, I feel like the bond that I have with my mom goes beyond mother and daughter. It's como mujer te quiero ayudar, como mujer te aprecio. And one of the core memories that I have, it wasn't even with my mom, it was actually with my brother. We needed something from my dad. And I called him and I was like, hey, my brother has been sick. We need this from you. Like, I'm not even asking for me anymore. Like, I don't care at this point. I care about my brother and I want him to have this. Like, he needs this from you. And I remember in that moment, I just started talking shit to him. And I think it was at that point that I started to see my mom as a woman. As like, you are my mother, but you are also una mujer that's striving for better for her kids, and I want to help you do that. Her tenacity, being a single mom, being undocumented, being low income, all of these barriers existed, and yet because of those things and because of the work and the hustle that she put behind every single thing that she did, I am now who I am today. School has always been an escape for me, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is that many of us may experience this as first gens, but translating documents, making important phone calls, making cereal sandwich, lo que hubiera en la casa, whatever was at home for my siblings because my mom couldn't be there, right? Because she was working. All those different things forced me to be more of an adult than I probably would have wanted to or needed to be at a young age. And school was always the place where I could go to and have the recess and be a child, be a kid, be someone that was learning. But I took my education really seriously from a young age because it was that escape for me. I had no idea what I was doing in college. And this is how clueless I was. My first year, I accepted a loan on accident because I was doing it all on my own. And then I realized afterwards, when I looked at my financial aid package and realized I had to pay it back, was that, oh shoot, I made a mistake. And that kind of was a theme for my first year in college. I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't know what resources to access. I just had no idea, even the simplest of things, right? How to study. How do I do that? Because it was a huge jump for me to go from high school to college. My public speaking journey started by doing. I always say I didn't go to get training. I didn't get this top-notch certification in public speaking. I almost got thrown into the opportunity. I was asked, hey, do you want to keynote this conference? My first ever keynote presentation was to an audience of 1,500 people. And that to me was huge. Till this day, it still is. And then it was 5,000 and it was 10,000 and it just kept growing that way. And I got a little bit more comfortable with the idea of being up on stage. The way that I take care of myself more recently has been through movement. I had surgery 2 years ago on one of my toes, my foot, and having surgery really changed my perspective around movement and the ability to move. And I realized when I was recovering from my surgery that being able to move around, walk freely is such a privilege. I love going out for hikes. I'm training for a marathon, so I've been running consistently. I started boxing, and boxing is something that I really wanted to do when I was younger. And my mom told me no, for 2 reasons. One, financially, we couldn't afford the equipment that we needed for boxing. And second, she was like, that's a guy's sport. You don't want to mess up your face. So now that I live on my own, I was like, I can do whatever I want. I really value empathy, and I value community-oriented approaches to everything that we do. Networking has always been kind of difficult for me because culturally I think that we're taught that using somebody for what they have isn't good. It's not, people that have values don't do that. You don't use people. No usas a la gente. And for one way or the other, the way that networking was presented to me, and that I think is often presented to us, is, oh, you gotta meet this person because they have this connection and they can get you access to this. And that is not inherently wrong, right? But I feel like the version of networking that I now understand and that I learned in college was a community-based approach to it, which is, I have these strengths and I can contribute this to the community, and you have these strengths that are kind of my weakness. Let's get together and make something happen.